The Sam Sorbo Show is brought to you in partnership by the Herzog Foundation.
Hi there. My guest for today's show is an American entrepreneur and scholar who has independently designed, developed, patented, and commercialized products in excess of $2 billion US dollars. You're going to want to hear this episode of the Sam Sorbo Show. Here we go.
Sam Sorbo,
Sam, welcome back to the program.
I'm glad to welcome Sam Sorbo.
It's great to have you here.
All right. So my guest for today's show has a mastery level in the areas of data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, quantitative analysis, predictive analytics, business intelligence, organizational change. My guest is Michael Giuliano. Welcome to the program. And there you are.
Hey, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
So to clear everything for my audience, I met Michael at an event recently. We're showing you a photo of him at that event. We didn't get a photo together. I'm not really sure why, but you know how
I tried to get the autograph, but you were too popular for the day.
That's very funny. It was a doctor's event, and all I could contribute was that I had played a doctor on TV. But that got a big laugh because, of course, it's so silly. But in any case, we started having a conversation about education. And there were a number of fist bumps, as I recall. And I found you actually quite fascinating. You've been in the mergers and acquisitions space. You've directly led some of the largest turnarounds with direct profit and loss ownership up to $11 billion US dollars. That's in industry, but also in technology acquisitions exceeding 31 billion US dollars. So you've been in the business of business for quite a while. And we kicked it off about education. So what I thought would be interesting is to start with your own education, which is usually one of the questions that I end my show with. I ask the guest what their education was like and if they use it in business today. And so I guess I want to start there.
Okay. So I'm going to give education comes in many forms. So as far as college, I studied industrial and systems engineering at Ohio University. I have a master's in quantitative analytics, so nerd with some more nerd on top of that. And I would say post academia, I've been trained in negotiations. I've been trained in every form of math and a lot of very high-end tech stuff. And then some really great leaders. Had the opportunity to work with a lot of amazing people, being Andy Grove, coaches. So education, leadership, special forces stuff, not just formal education with the book stuff. And a zillion years later, now I teach teachers how to teach. So I get the adult education and how we learn. But then also being a father, I have two little ones, 8 and 10. I'm able to apply some of the good stuff to how they learn. And it takes a village, but I'm seeing a lot of the stuff at home is going further than what school itself is, no matter how good the school is. So education's definitely changing.
Yeah, you won't get any pushback from me. I think the home environment is much more important. Should be much more important than school. And but you say you teach teachers. What are you teaching teachers to teach?
So in academia, business. So I'm looking at management efficiency ratios, that type of stuff, VC stuff in business. The real stuff is in engineering. So in industrial and systems engineering, operations, efficiency, lean, Six Sigma, those types of things. I've done formal curriculum development that is ABET accredited. So when you get an engineering degree, it has to be ABET accredited. So teaching those people how to deliver it through the hybrid method now, how to teach better because the boomers are leaving and the young ones are coming in, but you got the different ways that people are learning. So where all that stuff intersects, it's how do I deliver it so the kids get the stick and it's not just a lecture, but it's immersive. And how do you use a lot of these tools that we have that aren't that we're not just doing parlor tricks, but I'm actually
Yeah.
getting smart people to be smarter versus memorizers. So you want them to be able to think versus just repeat. And
Right. And of course,
I hope our engineers build crash-proof cars, bridges that don't collapse, and planes that fly. Right? You have to be able to pass the math part.
you have to be able to pass the math part. And you said you're highly trained in math, which is, that was my love growing up. I absolutely adored math. It's not what I do now, but you talk about lean,
Mhm.
and you are, I have it in my notes here. You're most recognized for your patent for you're the trademark owner of
Own the
certified
word.
lean.
Yep.
What's
Yep.
that?
Yep. Own the word. Yep.
Okay. So, but what is it? Because, you're talking to basically novices here. We're not even necessarily business people. We're maybe small business people, but we don't move in those circles with systems engineer, analysts and stuff like that.
No
So,
tape on the glasses, right? You want the English version. So a
yeah.
long, long, long time ago. So probably somebody already looked up lean and all this other stuff. A
Lean, by
zillion
the
years
way, is spelled Lean. It's not like the legal term of a lien.
no, no, it's lean. What it does not mean is less people. What it is, a long time ago, we had somebody here in the United States that was about quality and people and process. And the theory here was that if you focus on quality, speed follows. If you focus on quality, profitability follows. And if you focus on good systems or great systems, constantly beating up the system and assuming good people, bad system, let's work on the system. Now you can only get the best out of us. Well, they tried to sell that in automotive in Detroit and they went poo poo. And so the gentleman went over to Japan. Japan adopted it and they
Who's the
incorporated
gentleman? It was a person in particular who was
Deming for quality, Mr.
Deming.
Deming.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and so they did it. And the way that this company did it, they went to the suppliers of an automotive company and they went and worked out all the sub assemblies. They worked all the waste and inefficiencies out prior to it getting to the main assembly. And that company is called Toyota. They then came here and you can
They
buy
ate
one.
our lunch.
Well, they did, and the reason they did is they say out of 3 colors, you can make anything, and that or 5 sorry, they say 5 colors you can make anything, so black and white and the 3 primaries. So, it's if you notice Toyota, they have a really good 4-cylinder, really good 6-cylinder. They have a big platform and a small platform. They had the Corolla and the Camry. They came over and focused on being really good at 2 things, a 4-cylinder and a 6-cylinder, a big and a small. That's turned into SUVs, trucks, whatever. But if you buy Toyota or um, luxury export US, Lexus, luxury export US, Lexus, it's just a high number Toyota over there. It's an even better one. They last 400,000 miles. You can put gas, oil, and you're never going to have a problem. So they focus on quality. They know they're not going to be Lamborghini, but they're also not going to be something terrible. And they worked all the defects and the rooms to screw up a car, supply chains, all that. They work it off before it hits them. So when you hit them, they're just doing it great.
So
They
that's
focus
the
on
lean. That's
people,
sort of
people.
the thought behind the lean process. And
Mhm.
so they adopted the lean process. And then is
They
that
destroyed
something
us.
that you basically brought over here again in
No.
different sectors?
The gentleman who gets the credit in academia is James Womack, who was a gentleman who wrote a book that documented Toyota's rise here
Uh-huh.
and their methods. And there's a lot of stuff, and he did amazing work. But the people who did it over there, the team's name was Shingijutsu. And those are the people who worked all the quality and all the problems off before it came into your factory. And those people, that's Mr. Iwata. So he's the guy that actually did it.
Right.
Shingijutsu is the name of the organization, and they did it. The Womack and those guys, they wrote about it and they've taught it here, and they took, Americans take the credit. But I learned from Shingijutsu many, many years ago. So I got it from the
Where
Michael
was
Jordan
it?
stuff.
If Detroit at that point said, well, we can't afford to go after quality. This seems like silly. This is a big expense right up front. And we don't have any proof that it's going to work. So they sold it to Toyota and it worked. What was the next company that adopted it in the US?
Honda.
Honda was a Japanese company.
And guess where they make all their cars? Where I'm sitting right now, probably a couple hours away in Ohio. So when they say American manufacturing or foreign manufacturing, Georgetown, Kentucky sounds very American to me, and that's where Toyota's made. Or Marysville, Ohio sounds very American to me. They have all Americans in there, but the Japanese process, and there's no unions either. They make more money. The cars last forever. Now, are they the fanciest ones? No, they're not, all the stuff that all the
No, they're
celebrities
not,
have.
but that's not their goal. But their goal was make the best car at that price point
Yeah.
in quality so
Mhm.
that and it's true, Toyota developed a reputation for quality and longevity. Thanks for tuning into the Sam Sorbo Show. We are in a battle for our very nation, a nation that was founded on Christian principles and on the Bible. The 10 Commandments is the basis for our rule of law. But these days, when you go talk to people on the street, you'll find that most of them don't even know what rule of law means. And that's why I'm so proud to have Herzog Foundation as a sponsor of my show. I also love what they do because they seek for the benefit of Christian education throughout the nation. So Herzog Foundation is a wonderful partner for us here at the Sam Sorbo Show. Thanks for watching. Stay ahead of the storm with IQ Weather, a premium all-video homeschool course that makes learning science exciting and engaging. This vivid, entertaining program incorporates physics, chemistry, geography, geology, astronomy, and oceanography, giving your kids a well-rounded education in the fascinating world of weather. Designed to captivate young minds, IQ Weather makes complex concepts easy to understand and fun to explore. Visit iqweather.com and use code SAM to get 15% off your order. Give your kids a science education they'll love and stay prepared for anything. Start your IQ Weather journey today. And it's true, Toyota developed a reputation for quality and longevity.
Yeah.
My
And if
my
you
first
ever
car was a Lexus.
Yeah, if you look at Toyota, the label, Toyota started out as a sewing manufacturer, and it's a picture of a needle, and then the thread coming through the needle is what makes the T. So people don't even know that they started out, and they're saying our quality, we can thread the needle, which is that Toyota logo.
Right,
So
right.
Toyota, Honda, Nissan, they ended up coming in and they've dominated auto more up to date. You're seeing somebody that nobody would ever thought, but it's kind of Honda and Toyota 2.0. Kia came in, and now Kia and Hyundai are taking place of the value brands, and they have an identity thing, and people don't like certain logos, but they came in and they're getting JD Power and Associate awards. They're getting a lot of awards on methods and whatever.
Right.
Detroit is still trying to sell.
Detroit is still not, they still didn't jump on the bandwagon. It's
They are,
interesting.
but a little bit late in their culture. They still have union.
Right.
They still have kiss up, kick down cultures. They make some great cars. They make the best trucks and SUVs in the world. Or
So where else has this been implemented?
uh, this is now taught in mainline industrial and systems engineering.
So is that what that's part of what you do?
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
train for this?
Yeah, but business people. So a lot of so Apple, Tim Cook, he's an industrial and systems engineer, and he put lean in Apple. I started my career out at Intel Corporation, and 2 years out of school, I introduced lean, and it was mandatory across 80,000 employees when we got done. And so tech has been doing this.
Is there
Healthcare.
some kind of standardized reporting that is part of this, or is it just a work ethic kind of a thing?
So one, it's a culture thing. Two, it's ultimately the rules and some tools that enable you and me to, instead of looking at each other and me measuring you with a stopwatch or something or being a nerd, it's they identify, tag, and eliminate waste through value stream mapping, which is just mapping out the process. You can use yellow stickies. I use a zillion a week. And it's us, you and I say, hey,
Right.
here's what I do, start to finish.
And this is how long it takes.
And these are the process. And then you say, no, this is what we do. And I can do something as simple as baking a cake or baking cookies and I have my way. I have the ingredients, I have the process, I have the
Right.
tools. Now you
Right.
do your way. Now, when we lay them over top, I forgot to add sugar. Obvious. You forgot that there's a mixer or spatula, but now you and I can laugh at each other, but now we're both turned towards a wall with stickies or whatever it is, and it's two good people beating up a flawed process. Only then can we gain consensus. Now we can measure it, and what gets measured gets done, and then we can create standardized work or
Right.
standard work
So
to
it's
elevate the
systematizing.
collective. Yeah, so it's
And
just
systems has
systems
been,
thinking.
I mean, systems has been around for a while, but I think that
Uh-huh.
it wasn't necessarily taken as seriously
Yeah.
as it is now. And so one of the touch points that we had the other evening when we first met is I was telling you about a group that I just was introduced to, and they are doing automotive training. Now, why automotive? Because the automobile is a number of different types of systems. So you have plumbing, you have electronic, you have electrical, you have upholstery. Like there are tons of different systems in the car. And what they are doing is building a training program that uses augmented reality, AR goggles, and can train. So they have boiled down a 2-year training to reportedly to 25 days.
Yeah, very much
And
so. With
so
AR and VR, you
right,
should expect that in anything that you do because you can see more reps. And if I could add on to what you're saying, I played football in college. What you used to have to watch is film and you push rewind and you do this and whatever. Now these kids have the AR VR goggles and they see literally the game and they get more reps and they get more looks and it looks pretty real. Special Forces does it before
what
they
do you
go
mean
in
they
and
get more
attack.
reps and more looks? What does that mean?
So if I just watched a game, I see a camera from 30, from the stands, from what TV sees.
Okay.
These guys and gals, well, football for guys, they can see more looks, so more
More views,
formations.
more different
They can
views.
see more plays, and they can see an augmented or VR of what just happened. So they can put you in a game like a video game. Special forces could go in and they don't need to be in the desert. Somebody can come in, take a drone, a video drone, not a bad hurt stuff drone, but they can go in and do a Hollywood set and put you in the reality and have you walk around and see
Right.
what you're about to do.
Right. So
So
it's
to build
avatar.
a car or to
It's
learn, they
right.
can immerse you in there and you can see it way more times. And I don't have to go on set or I don't have to go outside or I don't need the
Right.
whole.
You're not traveling also. I mean,
No, you bring
within reason.
everything to you, and now I just see a bunch of plays, and I visually get those reps and those sets, and I don't have to wait for television timeouts and everything. So
But
that's
here's
more. Go ahead.
so the one of the struggles that we have with our school system
Oh yeah.
is it has systematized learning,
Mhm.
but humans are unique.
Yes, we are.
Children are unique, right? And
Mhm.
so when you systematize the learning for the child, if that child is not exactly where he's supposed to be for that system to function on him, it doesn't work. Uh-oh. What happened?
No, I'm saying bad kid, bad
Right,
student.
okay.
There's
Yes,
no
right, you're
such
following
thing
along,
as
fair
bad
enough.
kid, bad student.
I
We
thought I
all
was
learn
getting
different, right?
reprimanded.
No, I'm saying in school, right? You didn't follow the thing,
Right,
right? Some
right.
kids learn different. Some are more
Well, and
visual,
also, I
some
mean,
are experiential.
if we wanna pull it apart, more, of course, school teaches complacency, it teaches, compliance, it
Obey
teaches
and don't challenge
obedience,
the person
right?
up
It quashes the integral, curiosity of the child, the creativity of the child, like that. Like, we can but even just putting those things aside,
front.
So these people are systematizing a learning tool. The question is, because it's AR and because it's also AI, right? There's a component of it that's AI.
Mhm.
Can we, or have you, I suppose, because you've also done things like this, you've implemented things like this,
Mhm.
can you tailor it to the individual? So,
Yes.
for example, I just started learning Spanish. Unfortunately, the app ran out of lessons. In 54 days, I've exhausted the app. It's crazy. But I would like to go back and review one of the lessons on past imperfect because I really didn't quite understand it. I played along and I guessed right. And so it passed me, right? But I would like to go back and review it. There's no way on the app that I can do that. But maybe with the AR, VR goggles and all of that, there's a way so that your special ops guys who are in this one battle scenario have the opportunity to run it again and again and again
Yes.
with maybe other variables that are introduced or whatever. Talk about that a little bit.
So I would say that they're doing, and they have been doing that longer than we will say on this show. They are prepared beyond belief versus maybe our parents' generation where they had an idea, they had to have boots on the ground, they had to know what the terrain is. They can put people, whatever you see in a video game on an Xbox or a PlayStation for the last 20 years, you could bet that the military had that for a long
Sure.
time. So they can go through and get the lay of the land. They can play out a scenario where someone comes from the east or the west at the night or the day. It's raining, it's not. And what's great is with the augmented reality, you might be able to have, I would bet you at your local police department, the police don't have to fire bullets. They have 9 millimeters that are calibrated to shoot air and lock in on a virtual wall or a virtual target, and they can play out scenarios.
Oh,
High
I see.
speed chase, they can get off a treadmill, be out of breath, and they can simulate more lifelike scenarios than just talking. In school, what's great is now you can have that immersive thing, or if you're just talking about yourself in a self-talk course, you could go back and see where you made mistakes. You could watch yourself just like we can. This is being taped and you can play it again and again, or I should say recorded. I say tape, sorry, showing the age. This is being recorded, but now we can watch it over and over and over and see,
And point out
hey,
all the mistakes that you're making.
here's what I did wrong. But what happens if you put yourself over yourself over yourself over yourself and you see, I keep running the wrong way. And if I just ran this way, we would have won, or I would have caught the ball. Or you see how you speak, how your intonation is, or the cadence.
Sure.
You are going to be the toughest critic of yourself. And so now when I can get that quick iterative thing back and back, and now I can learn from myself. I could also say, here's me, here's the best me, and I can literally lay them over and see, hey, Michael, you're moving your chair too much. Your head's too high or low. The light's good or bad, right?
Right.
I
Right.
can learn, but AI can also say, this is good, that's bad. The
Right.
bad stuff, do less of. The
Right.
good
I mean,
stuff, do more of.
yeah.
And it can show you what your good looks like. And
Right.
that's all doable right now.
Spark curiosity and inspire discovery with Light Lab by Suzanne Shera. This hands-on, engaging curriculum brings science and faith together, exploring topics like energy, light, and the wonders of God's creation. Perfect for homeschooling families, Light Lab helps kids discover and develop a deeper understanding of science while growing their faith. Visit lightlabetc.com and use code SAM10 to get 10% off your order. Illuminate your child's education with Light Lab today. Unlock a world of career possibilities with Praxis, a transformative program designed to help teens skip traditional college and start building a successful career right away. Praxis connects young people with real-world job opportunities, mentorship, and hands-on experience in fields like marketing, sales, and business development. Their teen course equips students with the skills they need to thrive in today's competitive workforce. Visit discoverpraxis.com/teen-course and use code SAM15 to get 15% off the teen course. Don't wait for a degree to start your career. Take the first step today with Praxis. One of my favorite products that I've recommended to a number of people is Neuromatic's Quiet Brain Oil. Quiet brain is what I need when I'm trying to go to sleep. What's great about Neuromatic's Quiet Brain Oil, it's a unique proprietary blend of essential oils, very pure and therapeutic grade essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, and sandalwood. And I love it. It helps me sleep at night. And most importantly, it's very easy to travel with. That first night in a hotel for me is always a little bit dicey. Am I going to sleep well? And with Neuromatic's Quiet Brain Oil, really helps me. So I highly recommend it. You can get it at sorbostudios.com, and we'll see you there. Hey there. If you're enjoying today's episode, take a moment, leave me a 5-star review, please. This is the way that people will be able to discover these conversations. And by the way, I will be reading some of these reviews on air. So whether yours is poignant or humorous or simply thoughtful, take a moment, leave me the review, and maybe yours will be the one that is chosen to read on air and share with the world. Thanks so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. I appreciate you.
AI can also say, this is good, that's bad.
Right.
The bad stuff, do less of. The good
Right.
stuff, do more of.
Yeah.
And it can show you what your good looks like.
Right.
And that's all doable right now.
And it's doable right now. We're not doing it in schools.
No.
Which really, and schools are a multi-billion-dollar industry. And there has been so little in terms of any kind of advance with technology in the schools. And it seems like all the advances have been erroneous. I don't know if you're aware, Sweden put iPads or Chromebooks in all their schools and for 10 years, and they just pulled them all out because it was such an abysmal failure. Yeah. And the learning rates went down because children don't learn off of computers. And, you know, we need a completely different approach, but I'm looking at this, the streamlining of training, job training. And what I said to the guys with their company, I said, well, you should absolutely be going to homeschool conferences and talking to homeschooled youth because they will be your stellar students. They will be your banner, your banner examples. So here's a 16-year-old, he's pulling down $80,000 a year as a first-year auto mechanic because he used our resources, and that makes him happy. And by the way, I mean, they're saying that kids today will have 8 different careers, not jobs, careers. Yes. During their lifetimes. That means we need to be training children to keep learning. We need to be training children in how to learn.
We need thinkers. So I can tell you something that all of us at some point in time with children were homeschoolers during COVID, whether we like it or not, we were. I loved it because it was my chance to say, here's the stuff you got at school, but now we're going to go apply it. Here's this stuff. And so I had, my kids are 8 and 10. My daughter, that's 8, takes math 2 grades up. And the other day got a string and a stick and was able to make a circle and calculate the bricks to make a fire pit outside because she could do radius and all this other stuff. My son is 2 grades up in math also and is doing linear algebra, and he's graphing things and he's doing all of that, and he's using one of these one of these nerdy things. And while most kids are on iPhones, I got kids that are doing graphing calculators. Okay.
Why? And why does he need a calculator?
Well, he needs a graphing calculator to do pre-calculus.
I get it. I'm kidding. Sine, cosine, tangent. Sure.
Yeah. So he needs that. But I can say what was cool is in math, you're learning about permutations, combinations. I have, again, a 10-year-old, and all our kids are prodigies, but because you can get what school or what the state requires you have, but then be hands-on with a parent and say, this is why it matters. This is how it applies if you had a checkbook or you went to the school, or this is how we can go outside and apply it to making a radius on a string. You can apply this stuff. You can apply the language. You could read more. And I'm not waiting for the slowest kid anymore. You're going at the pace of your kids learning.
It's almost like your kids don't need to go to school.
No, they don't. They need math,
And
they
why?
need
Then
English, and they need experience. They don't need to
why
go
do they
to
go to
school as
school,
we know
Michael?
it
But why do they go to school then?
because we're programmed as a society, right?
It's it's true. We're absolutely programmed. I just put out an op-ed called "School is the New Religion," and we are so adherent to this new religion that dictates what level your child should be, and we have this fear of falling behind. I don't want my child to be behind. You could argue that I am behind you, Michael, in my life, right? But then again, you've never shot a movie, so maybe you're behind me. I'm not sure, right?
Well,
So there's
nobody
like,
wants to see me in a movie. I get paid to do this type of stuff, to make microchips and
nice,
use
but
big
right?
stupid calculators.
But the
I'm
point
not in
is
the looks business,
the whole
nobody wants to
comparison
see me in a
thing.
movie.
The whole comparison thing is absurd. It happens because school, but it's not real.
No, it's not. I'll use myself as an example. I'm from one of the worst public school systems in the country, not too far from where the movie Lean on Me was about in New Jersey. I was a public school kid. I moved to Iowa and they had some of the best public schools. And then high school and college was in Ohio. I did get offered and I did get admitted to every school. And because I played sports, I had the opportunity to um, pretty much go wherever I want because I could run fast with a piece of leather or hit a piece of leather over a fence with a wooden stick or dunk a piece of leather. But uh, math was the same. Calculus is the same at every school. Physics is the exact same. Chemistry, exact same. Now, all these other things, liberal arts, all that's fine. There's all kinds of stuff, but you want the smart kids to be smart. You don't want to have to pull down your pants to count to 21 if you're a guy. And that's what school is becoming. And you see the kids at home that had the hands-on parents, the people that didn't use computers, didn't use screens, they're more thinkers. And you see that like if you learn a new language, you're doing Spanish now. When you were little, you would have learned 3 languages in a week and been like, blah, 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 and speak everything. Now it takes some time. The kids' minds are sponge. They can see math. Math is a language, and math teaches you how to solve problems. Math
Math
is
is
the
a
only
lang
language
I
that's
want
the
hold
same
on.
everywhere.
I have to park there for just a minute. Not a lot of people say that. And I started saying that a while ago. And I just love that you say that
Yeah,
because you're a math whiz, right? Math is a language.
it
And
is.
and you know, there are people who say, well, I'm no good at math. I don't have a math brain. That's like me saying I'm no good at Russian. I don't have a Russian brain. It's ridiculous. You never learned math. The person who was supposed to teach you math was an abysmal failure, and that's why you didn't learn math.
Mhm.
And the problem with math, like other languages, is it's cumulative. You
It
can't
is.
really skip, lessons.
No,
You
it's
can't really
stats.
skip because it stacks. Exactly. Another math term, stacking, that we don't necessarily understand. And math is the language of logic. And so if you're no good at math, then you're kind of suspect because I'm not sure how your brain
Well, if you don't
works.
know that, these are logic chips, aka microchips. And if a person can make this and this can outthink most people, that's all the proof you need.
Right. So so we talked, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about GQ magazine's best stuff of the year. This is a product that you launched. It had the single highest price point, fully funded, crowd-sourced product. Now, I'll preface it by telling people it is not easy to crowdsource. I know a lot of people think, oh, you just put it up and then it crowdsourced, like people just flock to it and they put money in it. It doesn't really work that way.
No, it
And
doesn't.
so there's a whole technique and strategy to launching a product. But to launch the one with the single highest price point, was it the electric motorcycle?
It was an electric motorcycle, yes.
And so you have to send me that photo because I looked for it and I couldn't find it, but you said that it exists.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
what was the price point that you funded? Because it's the price point of the
Around
development
at
that
that
goes up.
time it was around 6 grand, 6, 7 grand.
Oh, it was only 6 grand to fund.
No,
So
no,
that
no.
must have been early
Six
days.
grand per unit. So we pre-sold 1 year of production, 2 years ahead, and you didn't put a deposit. You bought the whole thing for 6 grand. So
Oh,
you
I
didn't pay
see.
$50 to crowdfund. You paid 6 grand.
You bought
So
the
it
cycle,
started at 6 grand to
right?
donate
Right. You bought the motorcycle 3 years in
upfront.
advance
2 years in
on.
advance, and we booked 1 year of production in a couple hours.
Oh, you sold it that quickly.
Yeah.
So how much was the total raise?
It's out there
Roughly.
somewhere. It's in the millions.
Right. I mean, it's impressive anyway, but the
I
idea
want to
that
tell you
people,
how we did it to play the game.
right, because
Okay.
people are putting down 6 grand, hoping with faith that they will get a motorcycle in 3
That it
years.
even exists and you can make more than
Right.
one of them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
so go ahead and talk about that.
so we had a very, very gifted person who was playing with DeWalt batteries and battery packs from drills, putting them in serial and then attaching them to a motor, putting them on a bicycle, then taking apart a motorcycle and doing this. Then there was another gentleman who was real passionate about tech, was out there and wasn't tech at all, had nothing to do with tech, but really loved motorcycles. And where I got engaged is I've set up production lines for cars and motorcycles. And
Right.
I knew tech and I was a little bit older. And they said, we can make one, but we can't make a bunch. Now, what happens when we pre sell this? But we can't make these. We're making them by hand. We don't have a system,
A
a
system.
factory, like you said. So, joined up with those two gentlemen, and there was a little marketing, and I had to tell them what was behind the curtain. When you get an iPhone, that wasn't a spy that leaked something. That they leak things like they do spoilers for movies. It's all choreography and to build the groundswell. And it's really marketing and advertising. So we had a small group of people that pre-ordered. Okay.
Right.
And I said, you know what, Sam, keep your money, wait till this date, and at this time, reorder. And because
Place your order for real.
place your real order.
Right.
So we had people, several hundred people, whatever it was, that they wrote them. A lot of them were like celebrities or very, very, very silly rich people that got way too much money, and can buy anything they want. But that was also the thing is crowdsourcing this is 2015, 2016. So
Yep.
this was like a new thing. If you got $10 and raised $1 million in a week or a day, right? So I knew the algorithm advertises for yourself. So if a bunch of people throw in a bunch of money in a short window of time, the algorithm in the internet or the fund shoots you to the top. Your tomorrow's news and Inc. and Entrepreneur and whatever. And all it is me just saying, everybody who's already given us money, and by the way, there's some fancy, cool people, right, that have been in movies or sports
Right.
or they all rush to give a lot of money in a short period of time. Everybody
Right.
else buys. And what was nice is the team was amazing. We had a great technical team, and none of this before that, this was on an Amex. This was going to Home Depot. This was not big. This was not Harley Davidson, Yamaha,
Right.
Suzuki, it wasn't any of them. It's just three kids from somewhere that said, we want to beat big, slow corporate America, and we beat the pants off them. And then they were the same people who lined up to try to buy us later in life. And we were ahead of our time because
Did you sell?
we were making batteries by hand
Wow.
when they were buying them from China. And
Gotcha.
so we were making a swappable battery, something around the size of a shoebox, making those by hand. And so everybody was tethered, or the cars still are tethered. A motorcycle is a small enough form factor that where the gas tank was, we were able to put the battery kind of in there. And
Right.
when you get up and you leave, it's worthless without the battery. but I could bring it inside and charge it because it doesn't weigh that much. It was about the size of a shoebox, and we had a patent for that. And we had a lot of stuff. We were way too ahead of our time. We got bought, we got shelved. They pretty much folded it. And then later, a lot of these little patents have showed up in what is now electric bicycles,
Yes.
some things in some cars, and then a ton of scooters.
Yeah, they took
So,
you off the market. They didn't want the
of course,
competition.
of course, of course.
The world wasn't ready for you for this product,
Well, what's
right?
funny is at the exact same time, you had the biggest companies on earth spend hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D and they never shipped the product. And you had three 30-something-year-olds making, shipping, and driving things that went under 2 seconds, 0 to 60, making them by hand in California, which is the most expensive place to build something. We had two garages. One was number 23, one was number 24. We were right across from where old Candlestick Park was. And we just woke up and we eat, sleep, and you know what, building these things, and people enjoyed riding them. And they were very fast. There were other people that did it better than us. There were a lot of people there were a few people trying to do it at different places in the world. They just couldn't hit those price points because they didn't have the actual doers.
Right.
So subbing it out or joining with big industry. And it's kind of to your school point. We were self-taught. We had an agenda. We created an enemy, which is corporate America, and we went out and we whooped their you know what.
Well, now
And
that brings me to another question I hear, because you do a lot of consulting. Another question I have, I should say, you do a lot of consulting, speaking. Your clients and collaborators list includes, it's like a who's who of global brands. So Intel, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. It actually could also read as an enemies of the people list. So what should I learn from that? Are you looking for quality homeschooling resources? Apologia offers top-notch curriculum for all ages. It's designed to inspire a love of learning and a strong foundation in faith. Head over to apologia.com and use code SORBO10 to get 10% off your next purchase. Equip your children with the best education tools and save today at Apologia, the trusted choice for homeschooling families. Discover the wonders of biblical history with Biblical Excavations by David Nekrutman. Teach teens to love the Bible, defend their faith, and know God more deeply with a unique collection of educational resources that bring the ancient world of the Bible to life. Visit biblicalexcavations.com/curriculum and use code SAM to get 10% off your next purchase. Dive into God's Word and enrich your homeschooling journey today. Protect your family from harmful and explicit content online with Canopy, the only solution that filters and monitors in real time. With Canopy, you can rest easy knowing your children are browsing safely and securely. Visit canopy.us and use code SAM20 to get 20% lifetime discount on any subscription. Keep your loved ones safe online with Canopy today. You do a lot of consulting, speaking. Your clients and collaborators list includes, it's like a who's who of global brands. So Intel, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. It actually could also read as an enemies of the people list. So what should I learn from that?
I think it's where I did a lot of that stuff was between 2000 and I would say 2000 to 2015 was a lot of product specific stuff. And then the other stuff is now more, how do we get ideas to market quicker, faster, better? Or now it's M&A or sitting on a VC fund that says, who has the real stuff versus who's hype or who's politics or who's this? A lot of the tech stuff started out with good, right? Somebody made something good and then absolute power corrupts. So I give you a lot of money, not you, but I give somebody a lot of money, and we'll just say guys, we'll just say that for example, you give a guy $100 million and they think that they're a little smarter than they are. Their jokes are a little bit better than they are, and they have a lot more mirrors in their house. There are plenty of doctors out there that, um, they start making money in their 40s. Now, all of a sudden, they actually think that they're these big intellectuals. They're still the little social invalid from school, and they're real smart at their little thing, but they're the
Right.
fastest kid on the street. Um, Tech, you had a lot of people. I mean, Intel, Microsoft, we minted more millionaire secretaries than there were millionaires in the Fortune 500.
Mm, mm.
Millionaires, secretaries. I didn't say rocket scientists or engineers. So there was a lot of good, but then you look at the arc of, I'm going to say Jeff Bezos. He looked like he still belonged in a locker not too many years ago. And now he is controlling the news and doing this and doing that, whatever your personal stuff is. So money can really change people, and they think they're a little bit better. They start to think they're better
Yeah.
than people.
Yeah.
And you name those big tech companies now, part of mass surveillance, part of whatever, they just started out being a nerd. And then they got a lot of money, and
Fair
then they
enough.
started throwing some power trips around. And it's usually old white men that are real good at that big ego thing when you throw some money at them.
Right.
And it's too bad, because kids right now, the people that are leading AI, they're probably drinking Mountain Dew on a laptop in some cafe,
Yeah. Right.
or they're in some, the smart people. Tech's a young person's game because they have no rules and they like to break stuff and they don't follow anything.
Well, it's also
So,
long hours.
oh,
It's like
very long hours.
it's
Yeah.
young person because you got to be able to pull the all-nighters if need be,
And it's
basically.
love of the game too. When you're
And it's
young, you
love,
have
yeah.
that energy, and
Yeah,
you
that's
don't have,
passion.
you're not, like we were saying, you're not beaten down by the system saying you can't. They're like, there's this AI stuff. I want to see how many companies I can build in a week using Chat GPT. I want to see how many things I can do with all these free tools. You see these, I'm going to keep it PG, influencers, they're
Okay.
really just cartoons clicking you over to some really filthy stuff. But they make money.
Yep.
I hope they turn those apps off sooner than later because they've degraded society. But you can use this tech for really great stuff,
Right.
but
It's a
nobody's using
double-edged sword.
ChatGPT to solve
Yeah.
cancer right now. They're doing it to do nefarious things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too bad.
It cuts both ways.
It does.
So the takeaway from this is we want to teach our children about systems more than maybe anything else. I mean,
I
not
want
more
to
than
teach you
anything
how
else.
to think. Really, everything you do in life, whether it's how do I work hard to do this, to do that, to eventually get to here.
Right.
I want to teach what I have is I love story problems. I love really big, complicated story problems. Well, that's how you build a car. I want to go to the moon. That's a big story problem. You build a rocket that does this, that goes there. I want to change education. That too is a story problem. There's a step A, a step B, a step C. So when you teach people systems thinking, which is just stepwise fashion and not memorization, and then they
Right.
can do the math, and then they can get people and get great people and build a really good process. There's a gentleman I'm working with right now that I was with 24 hours before I saw you. And they're one of the best surgeons in the United States in orthopedics. And the first thing I told him when I met him is I can get a superior system and average people and light up the scoreboard against you, the best doctor in the world. Because process, I can put anybody in a superior process, and by design, they're going to be successful. In schools, to your point, the process is terrible and is broken. And you got a lot of really good people who are depending on a really poor process, and the output is junk.
Yeah.
So when you
I'm
work
gonna
on the
I hold on.
process and get in the process, you can win. When you
I'm gonna
beat up the process and improve the process of
Right.
learning, we will get a better product, no matter who we put in.
But I'm gonna push back because I don't think that the process itself is broken. I think the process is purposeful, and it's the wrong process.
You're right. You're right.
And so it's not meeting our expectations because we expect it to be good for the children, and it can't be.
No, they're teaching them how to obey, not question authority and be an employee
Right.
or other stuff. And they're pushing whatever they want, and
Well, it's
versus
ideology, right? It's whatever
it's
ideology
all
is
the
in
woke
that
crap.
teacher's head,
Yeah,
and
it's all the
there
woke
are
crap.
some good teachers and there are some bad teachers, and then
Mhm.
your child is playing Russian roulette. You're just like, Is the gun loaded? Is it not loaded? We don't know because we don't know the teachers. All right. So we're going to have to close this out at some point, and I think this is a good sort of stopping place. What is the single most compelling shift that you think is needed in our culture today?
We have the answers. So what's neat about, I'm going to say Gen X, is if I wanted to ask you to a dance, I would actually have to go up and talk to you and say, will you go to a dance? And you say yes or no. I used to have to call my friend's house and ask, can I please talk with whatever? There was a human connection. In medicine, there used to be paper and you got through and you were very connected with the patient and the doctor. People cared. There was a real human connection. Technology came in, and instead of enhancing that,
Hmm.
it made us connected to everybody, but it created so much distance. We're so
It created
connected right
isolation.
now, but we're so distant
Yep.
and removed. So I think we already have the answers. I think Gen X is going to be the change. And I think that there's a lot of people who are sick. We got too much tech. And what's everyone's dream now? I want to live in a cabin in the middle of nowhere and whatever, right?
With
So
no phone.
with no phone, right? And be unplugged. So I think the biggest shift is when we unplug and then get back to connecting as people. Now we have this great technology that enables, like today. I saw you the other day. This is a real connection, and
Yep.
we're actually doing something productive. And hopefully, someone didn't fall asleep listening to a nerd talk. So I hope I didn't like trash your ratings or something. But this is the good stuff about tech: is we can call and learn and talk and do, and then get it done and get it out. Um, but other people are using it for other reasons. So I think when we can unplug and connect, and then use these things, which are only tools, and use them to make ourselves think better and work together quicker, faster, better, that's where the win in technology is. And
Good
that's
point.
going to catapult us forward as a society.
It's a very good point. All right, Michael Giuliano, thank you so much for joining me. And we're going to leave it there. This is the Sam Sorbo Show. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time. Remember, speak truth, speak it boldly. We'll see you next time.
The views and opinions expressed in the Sam Sorbo Show are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views and positions of the Herzog Foundation.